Now we're going to have a short, a little bit of a change to our schedule. We were going to hear from Jessie Donaghy from Bond University, but Jessie's actually not here, but she's recorded her session. So what we will do instead is we'll go to Judith Fraenkel from Libris, who will be able to talk a bit about what they're doing. And then we've got quite a few questions, so we'll probably go on to questions after that. And if you do have questions, place them in the Q&A is probably the best place for you to put them. Okay, over to you, Judith.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm going to start by sharing my screen, so just let me know that you're seeing it. Are you seeing it? Okay, great, thank you. So first I want to say thank you for this big participation, and also I have to say big thanks to the panelists. I think they've covered so many aspects of Rapido from different directions, and it's really amazing to just hear them. I'll be talking a little bit about Rapido and its key values, so I won't be showing you the system because Tom did a great job doing that. And also we'll be answering some of the questions that were pre-submitted to for this panel, and Rachel, I think you will be pitching them, and we'll be answering together actually some of those. I think that talking about Rapido, particularly in this region, is really important. First, you've seen from our speakers today, we have a very strong community of Rapido in Australia, hopefully also in New Zealand, which really brings most of the value of Rapido as more and more institutions are joining the pods. But also there are many ALMA institutions there, and the integration doing resource sharing with ALMA institutions is also very easy. And also we've mentioned LAD a lot, so you can continue working with LAD, of course. So actually Rapido is a very good fit for this region. I also want to say that we were really privileged to have many Australian partners as early adapters and development partners. So a lot of the features that we have in Rapido were born out of this collaboration, and I'm really thankful for this. The resource sharing networks, what we sometimes like to call the ecosystem, is one of our main focuses in Rapido. So I also will be mentioning a resource sharing directory that will be maybe something of interest not only for Rapido users. Okay, so let's just start with a few slides and then we'll move to the questions. Okay, so these are the Rapido pillars. They guide us, they guide me as a product manager on the things that we're doing. And the first thing to point out is that Rapido was developed from the beginning, from scratch, as a full resource sharing platform from the discovery up to the delivery. So things that you've seen from the panelists here, the student, the customer that goes into their own native discovery system, they look for what they're searching in their library, they don't find something in their library, an easy way to find and continue the resource sharing process. It actually replaces existing products. It can, it depends on your institution, but it could replace all of the existing products. And this means that Rapido covers all of the spectrum of resource sharing tools. So if we were talking about ALMA resource sharing, it means, for example, a resource sharing management system. If we're talking about a broker such as Relay, Rapido is also a broker. And as it has been said many times, we're really proud of having Rapid as the backbone of our document delivery system. So it also includes document delivery. So again, if we talk about the types, just to make it really clear, Rapido covers all of the resource sharing formats that are required, both document delivery, but of course also returnables. In terms of our pillars, let's start with the user. So we're very much focused on the way the user experiences the service. As you know, our users are used to a different experience, visibility, knowing that having different options, knowing what to expect. And this is what you saw with those Rapido offers, for example. So the patron can make decisions such as if they know that the physical resource will arrive in 5 days, but they have an exam in 3 days, maybe they should go for a chapter scan in order to meet what they're needing, or even not just simply not placing the requests. This is an example, or that view of where exactly the resource is now, that green line that was shown as well. So really giving the patron decision-making options and also the most visibility as much as possible. In terms of the staff, and it was interesting for me to hear the speakers today, we really want to make a system that is intuitive to use first, so it's easy. The UX is really beautiful in my own opinion, but also effective. So enabling you to move with ease from mediation to non-mediation as much as you want. So the system can be you can let it go totally unmediated, only for extreme cases to mediate, but also the system enables you to, for example, decide that in certain cases, you prefer to do the mediation. This is what we call the mediation rules. And I think Tom showed you, so you can decide when you want to mediate. Our third pillar is openness. And again, we are very proud of Rapido, but we also want to support the resource sharing communities. And we want to make sure that while you're working with Rapido, we can support all of your existing networks, even if they're not on Rapido. So I think that also Tom clearly said that he showed you how he first, for returnables, for example, first the Rapido will look for a Rapido partner. So you have clear, which would be clear, actually you decide this, but in this case, first going to the Rapido pod will provide, for example, the knowledge of how long the patron can keep the item and when it will arrive. Then if it is not found, you can go, for example, to LAD. And in the future, maybe if you're interested, you could participate in an international pod for Rapido. But the idea is really to ensure that we're giving a lot of focus from the product house to integrations. And by the way, Tom also mentioned his desire to have an integration with WorldShare. We are also open to have that integration. Actually, there's some work that we're doing now. We're working on an integration with them. And it's, again, it depends on their time, willingness, etc. But in our terms, this is a focus. Any system that we need to integrate, we want to integrate. And last but not least, and I won't have a lot of time to expand here, is the future. So we're looking into a product that first and foremost needs to cover your current needs for resource sharing, but it's also built to address the needs of the future of resource sharing, which are actually maybe even now. So just to let you know that we're working now in a ebooks lending pilot together with ProQuest. We think that maybe that will be the future. This is part of our roadmap, our current roadmap, and also control digital lending and other developments that we're working on. Some of those might not be at this point of time something that your region is ready to do for various reasons. Other regions are more ready for this, but things are evolving in the area of resource sharing, and I think we'll see more changes not only on our developments, but also on legislation around them, I hope. Okay, just to make sure that we understand the infrastructure of how Rapido was built. So Rapido is built on top of the Libris Higher Ed cloud platform. So this means that it uses the shared platform infrastructure you already have with Alma, for example. And the deep meaning of this is, first of all, the implementation is really not a very lengthy process. I can share with you that I've had implementations that took, they were like surprise implementations, 2 weeks implementations, but usually an implementation process with Rapido, if you have Alma, is it's even a flag flavor, we can call it, already on production. We put on the flag, and you can start working on this configuration and testing that Jeff and Sydney discussed now. So there is no need for migration to adopt Rapido. There's some configuration decisions that you need to make. If you're new already using Alma Resource Sharing, the process is really, really very easy. Again, there's no new user interface stuff to learn if you're already learning Alma. All of the security and privacy that we need to build on are already there. Of course, we are already fully integrated with the areas that you need resource sharing to be integrated. An example is fulfillment. So everything is done really transparent, like moving from to digitization departments, pick shelf lists, everything is fully integrated. I didn't mention it before, but we're also working now. We support non-Alma institutions as well, but I know many of you are on Alma, so I'm giving focus here to this. And again, analytics, and I was really happy to see what PETA showed with their analysis. So you have a lot of, the analytics is completely supported, so you have all of the possibilities of reporting, and I've seen very nice reports done by Cyro and also PETA, and I think Jesse wanted actually to talk today about this, so I hope that in the future we can talk more about this. So total integration, and it will help you make decisions regarding your resource sharing and collection development, etc. So I did see some of the pre-submitted questions. So we're touching here upon some of the key components, and I'll answer with more detail once we stop the presentation. But here are some of the key basic building blocks of Rapido that are clear differentiators and give you value with this product that other products might not completely give you at this point. So first of all, that shared holding index that actually allows the patrons to do that search beyond their library scope in their own discovery system. This is a huge thing, I have to say. First, because the student doesn't have to go out of the system. Second, if they're using the Rapido offers as shown by the panelists here, the user, there is no need to further input metadata. This has, of course, a lot of meaning in terms of automation and mediation, because the staff will probably won't be needing to correct requests coming from users. And even beyond that, and this is something we're not showing you today, but this index is actually in a way expanding the discovery index. We have all of the Rapido holdings of the Rapido customers there, which is increasing the numbers of hits and results. So even if you wouldn't be, you were looking for something and you expanded your search to push a request, you might be able even to find more materials while doing this process. So this is a very important concept. The second very important concept is the concept of pods. It's very similar to the pods in Rapid ILN. What I want to stress here is that a pod is a group of libraries that have decided to do resource sharing together on agreed terms. So for example, the agreed terms today for the Australian pod is, as shown, 5 days delivery and half a semester, 112 days for long terms And there is another value for short terms, which I don't remember, 28, I think. I don't remember exactly. But the idea of these spots, first of all, they're completely flexible, and also that today this is what suits the Australian market, which is covering all of Australia. But maybe in the future, when more libraries join, we can, or New Zealand joins, for example, we will have a New Zealand pod, or if we want to have a pod that includes Australia and New Zealand, we can have that type of pod. And of course, the terms will be changed accordingly, or we could even have a smaller pod in Australia. And in the future, maybe we could have an international pod if you're willing to do that. So this is really creating different communities of users, and where the negotiation of the terms is really unnecessary. The terms are there, and you can simply join a pod. The new experience for the patron, all of the things I've already mentioned this. I just want to say that this is working on Primo VE. And it is a requirement to have Primo VE. We do have APIs for libraries that are using their own discovery system, but Primo VE is a requirement. We talked a lot about the interface, and you saw part of it during the presentation of Tom. And we also talked about Rapid ILL being the backbone of document delivery, which is really, really a strong feature. So with this, let's move to the resource sharing directory. And this moves us a little bit back to the openness, the being open as a pillar of Rapido and the ecosystem and resource sharing networks. So we have recently released a very important feature. I hope you've seen it maybe in Igloo or in the documentation or release notes, a feature for openness of our solutions. And we created an Ex Libris directory. This is an opt-in feature that allows Rapido is already there, but it also allows Alma customers to add their resource sharing libraries to this shared directory. And this can be used, in this case, it supports both if you're using Alma or Iliad as your resource sharing management system. And this is kind of a community zone section that everyone can see the partners of those libraries that have placed their resource sharing libraries there, and the locate profile is automatically added as well. And then it really makes the whole creating of your ecosystem much more easy. So if you want to create this, again, as I said, if you're an Alma doing peer-to-peer, you can do it. Okay, I have a, sorry. Let me go back. I don't know, I think this jumped automatically. Okay. So if you're an Alma doing peer-to-peer and you want to work with someone, you'll be able to do this. Download the partner. The other side needs to download the partner as well. But also, of course, as I said before, Rapido supports. I'm going to stop sharing now for a sec. Rapido supports peer-to-peer and ISO integrations, and I've supplied here. If you want to be part of this directory and really want to encourage you to be part of this directory, is helping not only the Rapido community, but it's also helping the Alma community, and just making sure that we have a rich network for resource sharing. So Rachel, I don't know how much time we have, but we do have some.
Okay. So we've got a bit of time. We are answering some questions directly in the chat, but I'll ask a few. Okay, so here's one from Linda. Can Alma Resource Sharing integrate with Libraries Australia Trove in the same way it does with Rapid ILL, so that rotas can be auto-populated with partners who have related holdings?
So, you know, this is a question that I think there is a locate process running for it's like a regular peer-to-peer ISO connection in Alma. So a locate process should be running. And I don't know if Margarita wants to add here, but we know there should be a locate process running so that the system identifies to which that something was found on LAD, and LAD will know to which institution to send it. So this is my understanding. If there is a problem with the locate or something of this sort, we can take it offline. But as far as I understand, there should be a locate as with any type of ISO. If the holdings are updated, I think that's very important. What Margarita said. If the holdings are updated, most probably on our integration, we'll find the right library that has the resource available. Margarita, you want to add?
I'll just make a small comment. It should be working automatically. I mean, once you build your rotor, it should just simply go to LAD and be processed as normal. However, if that's not working, then can you please report what's happening so that we can do an investigation and work collaboratively with Libris to resolve the issue? Without that information and examples, it's very hard to just, we're not sure what's going on. Hope that's helpful.
Thanks, Margarita. Okay, so this question, I'll throw open to the whole group. And it's someone asking can anyone offer suggestions on how we can avoid REST requests for resources held by our institution? So what's happening is with their institution, a lot of requests are placed using a blank resource sharing form. And it often turns out all of these requests are for items they already hold. So is there any way to stop those requests from being placed? Or has anyone got any tips and tricks? And I think they're talking about the regular Alma Primo resource sharing. But if Rapido can prevent those, that would probably be good for that person to know.
Peta, you want to answer? Or you want me to answer?
I'll start off and you can fill in some gaps if you like. So at Bond, we really only use the blank form as the form of last resort. So we don't have a link to the blank form on Library Search. We do have it on a web page, and it's kind of, down the page a bit and tucked in there. We really educate our users to go to Library Search or to use the fetch citation or citation linker to check for things that they really want to request. If they don't do that and they send us an email inquiry saying, oh, here's a citation, can you get this for me because I don't know how to do it? We have talked with our librarians who handle the Ask a Librarian service about different ways to respond to those and use them as teaching moments. So instead of going back to them and saying, oh, here's a link to the blank form, we actually do the search in Primo for them, find the record, grab the permalink and respond to them and say, here is what we think you're looking for. Go and use this link, sign in, and if it's what you want, submit the request that way. So in the future, the next time we're hoping, they figure out they need to go to Library Search and work that direction. So that's kind of how we try to educate them. I do think we get more requests now as well from people coming from other places. So they're using the open URL linking from databases or from LibKey and places like that, and they end up in Library Search and submit them that way. So some of it's about user experience. I do feel, though, that the blank form now does have ISBN lookup to check whether you have a holding or not. Is that correct, Judith?
No, I don't think so. No. But maybe, Peta, what I would like to add here is that that discovery layer that Rapido is adding for you guys. First of all, when the patrons are coming and looking for something, once they don't need to leave their interface, they can see whether the library holds it or not. This is one thing. And then they're also coming from the Rapido offer. Now, I've seen many Alma institutions that have on the top the blank form. And Rapido is working with Alma, so you could leave the blank form there. What we are recommending our institutions is to remove the blank form. Not that we want it gone totally, but we are recommending to remove the blank form from the top. So encouraging that expand to the index and looking up for stuff there. And requesting from there. And again, there is another link that says you haven't still found what you wanted. So of course we don't want dead ends, and the blank form still exists, okay? So try to pushing them towards, kind of a last way to go there. I just want to update that we're just working on a development to be released really, really soon, where you'll be able to know whether the request was initiated from a blank form or not. And of course, it will also be added to analytics, and you'll be able to do some. First of all, it will have complete visibility, so it will be on the facets and on the request, so you can maybe even learn what's happening when patrons are going to the blank form instead of coming from the Rapido forms, and also what type of, what is the numbers, how can you educate them differently, etc.
Thanks, Judith. Okay, we've got a good question here in the Q&A. How do you get around copyright breaches? So that is requesting multiple chapters out of the same book, and how does Rapido prevent that?
Okay, this is a great question. Actually, I think this came from, Adelaide and Bond, when they were working together with us, they mentioned this. So actually feedback from our development partners, thank you. And we created a rule for copyrights where you can limit this according to, from one resource, how many either journals or chapters you can ask from that, a single patron can ask from that resource, and also for what period, okay? So the question was, so is it forever, or should we limit this? And my understanding was that I think that most of Australia will go for 1 year, but I'm not sure. But actually you can limit this for how many in a period of time sections of a journal or articles of a journal or chapters from a book can be requested, and stop for mediation, either for copyright approval or let them go but mark them as copyright approved, and then through analytics work on them.
Okay, that sounds really good. Okay, here's a good general question. Libraries using Rapido, are they worried that clients will not use their collection properly, just rely on Rapido?
Good question. So, first of all, maybe there is a way to stop this, but maybe you guys want to, are you worried about this? Tom, Jeff, I don't know, I'm asking you, maybe you want to answer. I know there's a way to limit this, but.
Not really. For our use, Sid, we're probably not too much with Rapido. We are concerned about Alma resource sharing because we have had some issues with students requesting things that we hold in our collection. But if we hold it and it's a journal, then we'll digitize journal articles for our own clients, and they can just do that. And they see it quicker, and it's probably easier to get. But it's kind of, for us, it'll be an unknown. Until we actually implement it, we won't really know for sure.
I just want to say that there's a way to disable. There are two things you can do. First of all, there's a way to disable resource sharing, placing resource sharing or resources that the library holds. So that's one option. So the option to just place a resource sharing request will not be available. A second option, which is something that I've seen that many institutions prefer, is to mediate. So if the item is locally owned, they want to mediate the request. So they do enable the resource sharing option to appear and to be used, but then they mediate it using a cell phone mechanism. So they can decide, whether to let it go as resource sharing or not. And again, I guess you can measure this. You can definitely measure this through analytics. In Rapido, something we didn't show is that you have labels. You can add labels to requests. Now, these labels also go to analytics. So I encourage you all, also those that are live in Rapido or upon going live, if there's something you want to measure on request and you wish to mark them with labels, that's another option to further do any type of I don't know if Jessie was going to cover something like this, but yes.
No, I will just add there too, for libraries that aren't moving to Rapido but are considering Rapid ILL, is that if requests do come in, Rapid ILL knows what your holdings are, and they're not going to send on requests if it says you've already got this. So you can sort of jump on those and they end up using your collection. It's just that you sort of have to deal with that request and push it through to the appropriate method of handling it. But mostly we use the display logic rules to prevent resource sharing requests being placed on things where we have ownership of them.
Yeah, and maybe just to clarify, the self-mediation rule is automatic in Rapido. And for example, for document delivery, you would need to use a special action if you want to release it and let the request continue in the process.
Thanks, Judith. We are running quite low on time and we do want to play Jessie's presentation. So we might just have the official wrap up and then we'll play Jessie's presentation. We just want to remind you all just about ANZREG and hold on. So I'll just go back to my presentation. Because we just wanted to remind you that ANZREG is your Australian and New Zealand Ex Libris users group. And we represent all libraries in Australia and New Zealand who want to, who either have or are interested in getting Ex Libris products. We are going to be having another event and it will be a very informal, engaging event towards the end of November. So do watch this space. We also have a mailing list, which is where you can find out about this and other events. And you can also ask questions and get support from the community. So I would like to thank all the ANZREG committee members for helping us put together this presentation. And I just want to thank all of our presenters for making the time to attend, especially Judith. I know it's really early where you are. And everyone who attended, because I know we're all pretty sick of Zoom, but we're really impressed by how many registrations and how many people have come along. We will be making this recording available free on our website, and we will also publish the question and answers we got asked during this session. So I think we might end the session here formally, but if you want to stay back, we will play Jessie Donaghy's presentation.